This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, cool. All right, usually we don't start with the title of the episode, but I thought we'd give as much time to this thing as possible before I jump into any other things. But Dune 2, Part 2,
Yes.
officially well, I'll let you go first, actually. What do you think of Dune Part 2?
Really good.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that it is... Actually, did you like the first one or the second one better?
The second one. The first one is just all about the world and setting up things. So this one is the continuation after that. The main things to happen. Yeah.
Right. And I was thinking about this too, like, even with the Batman, like, do you remember, like, the Batman? That was, like, really, really good. I can't wait for part 2 of the Batman, because then it's like, you already know the world. So we don't have to, like, waste time trying to figure out, like, how this thing works. Or, like, The Dark Knight. Remember, like, it came after Batman Begins?
Yeah. Right.
And, like, that one was really, really good. So I'm with you on that one, where it's like, if we just get past the preamble, although the first movie is really good, there's a lot of philosophy in that one, there was definitely, like, way more embedded into this one, and you already kind of knew what was going on. You could just jump right into, like, the important bits, right? Did you feel like it was... Okay, I'm going to put it out there as this has replaced The Matrix for me. Like, The Matrix was my number one. If anyone's like, oh, what's your favorite movie? What do you recommend? Like, The Matrix, because, like, it's so insightful. There's, like, a lot of stuff that balances it out. Matrix is still good, you know? There's, like, the action scenes that balance out the philosophy. But I feel like on a deeper level, Dune is just hitting so many philosophical points that really make you think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's something I saw after the movie and didn't really pick up on it during it, but then it makes sense now that it's not a hero movie. He's an anti-hero.
Oh, okay. Wait, explain that more.
Because
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so the original person that wrote the books, he noticed that people were
like loving him,
calling Paul Atreides as a hero, but he's an anti-hero.
Okay.
It's something that you shouldn't be following blindly. And
wow,
that's what he
said that.
Yeah, that's why he wrote the other book, trying to get that message that this is an anti-hero. He's not a hero.
Well, what other book?
Because
what other book?
No, like the next book after the Dune Messiah. So in Dune Messiah, I think he's supposed to explain that. So that's why the director for this one, he was explaining that he has some changes from the book to try to get that message of an anti-hero into it. Because if you see like what the mom was doing and what he was doing, it was like
I felt that too.
Yeah, how to convince people to, because that was like, convince the weak, convince the thing. That's telling you that these guys are not the heroes. They're anti-heroes, right?
But yeah. That's interesting, because I did notice that too. Like the way they're speaking, I was kind of like, why are you making this sound like almost like a cult?
Yeah.
You know, like, so there's like the Messiah, or let's take the example of Jesus, because it reminds us of like Jesus, right? So Jesus probably had, actually, no, let's do Buddha. Buddha has a better story. So Buddha achieved enlightenment for himself, And then he was like, "Hey man, don't follow me. Like these are the steps I took, but this is what I was doing." But then they created like a religion around the Buddha,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he was anti-religion.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what you mean? It's like the mom was putting all the steps in place to make her son the Messiah in their minds, even though he didn't really want to be. Remember, he was getting mad. She's like, "Well, we gave them hope. This is not hope." Or something,
Right. But at the same time,
he knew.
No. But at the same time, even though he knew, he was still doing something. So by convincing Shihan, or the girlfriend, right?
Johnny.
Johnny or Sean, I forgot how to say it. But anyways, so
they just kept saying Johnny.
Yeah. It's spelled like Chian or something like that.
Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya's character.
There you go.
She was technically a skeptic, right? But she did see some things in him. But for him to connect with her was a way for her to send the message that no, he has something. But even though at the end she saw, even though she's not with him at the end, right?
Because they converted the hardcore atheist.
Yes.
So like so she was the most anti-Messiah.
Exactly.
And if they could convince her, then they kind of like they won them all over because that was the hardest one.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But he used love to do. Wow, I don't know. Is that accurate? Because now we're kind of like thinking of it super meta, and I'm like, was that the intention, or are we just like piecing it together here?
Yeah, because I think that's what he was trying. Because in the books, she's supposed to be with him at the end, so she doesn't leave him. So that's a change that's what he was trying to do. To get that message too. Yeah.
See, all right. So that was my thought. Remember, we left the movie theater, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to read this book. Is the book going to be the same as the movie, or like better, or something? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I don't know. I think this is what I got was like the director understood what the writer was trying to say, so he's doing it. He's doing some changes to make sure that message is heard, basically.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Because he noticed that people were viewing him as a hero. That's why he wrote the other book to explain, which I don't know too much about what's in that book of the Dune Messiah, but it's supposed to explain like that he's the anti-hero.
How many books passed? Like, was that within the 6?
So like, I think that
Googled.
So the 6 I think includes a lot more stuff. I think it's just the 3 books. Book 1, 2, and 3 is the one that's about Paul Atreides, I think.
And then 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, they're like,
and then Messiah
they're later on.
Later, or how's? Okay.
No, it's Dune, then Dune Messiah.
Wait, what?
Dune is the book, first book.
Okay.
Book 1, then Dune Messiah is the book 2.
Oh, interesting. So, like in the 6-part series, the Messiah is the second book.
Yeah.
In the 6-part series.
Yeah.
So, what are we watching right now? Is that just Dune?
It's Dune. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not even Dune Part 2.
Yeah, I think he said that. I'm not sure if they're going to make that the name of the third movie. Could be Dune Messiah. Could be the third movie.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, let's deconstruct a couple of things here. That I felt like need to become more clear, because it's like, all right, so you have all these people. I'm going to relate it to things that I was linking it to as the movies. So remember the Congo stuff, like the red cobalt red?
Yeah.
And like how we need that electricity. It reminded me, need that for like our electricity. It reminded me of cobalt red. Like Dune was kind of like cobalt red. You know, like the situation's bad. Nobody can really live there. Obviously, they're not slaves mining for the stuff, but it was like that planet was so rich in resources that fuels the rest of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Or like our civilization, right? If you're looking at cobalt red. And this kind of movie was like the people of the island who are being like abused for their resources fighting back, right? To like take back their sovereignty. But I was kind of like, why do we care about this planet so much? You know, but you almost have to remember, because like it's the context, right? Because I'm like, why is this huge battle happening on Dune? Like, why do people care about these like people who live on Dune? Why do they have like this Messiah story? But it's like it just comes down to the fact that you just need something from this planet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But now think about how dumb this movie would be. So this is what was tripping me out when I was watching the movie. So imagine how dumb this movie would be if they found a different planet with a better resource. Nobody would care about Dune at all. They'd all just leave that planet and go to another planet.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do we care so much about this Messiah story? Why does the galaxy care about the Messiah story? They don't care. They just care about the resources in the place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so trippy when you think about that, because it's like on the planet, you have this story about like fighting back and like saving their society and like not being slaves anymore, getting their home world again, right? Like that's what the people wanted, who wanted Paul or Timothy's character to like save them. But if you zoom out, if you don't need that planet anymore, who cares about your Messiah, bro?
Yeah. Right.
Isn't that weird though? It's like we care so much about this one thing. It's almost like the story of Jesus, right? You're like, oh my God, Jesus is like you whatever, and then you blow up our planet with climate change or like a nuclear explosion. It's like, who cared about Jesus, bro? Like it's all just like a weird story that we're telling ourselves in our head.
Yes, yeah.
That this is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so wild because that's also what they did. They hijacked the story in everyone's mind.
Yeah, and the ones who put that story out there, it's generated hope, right?
Yeah, but hope is like, remember that other part? Man, there's so many great things in this movie where she was like, okay, wait, hold on. I think the reason why I like this movie better than The Matrix is The Matrix is like, yeah, we could be slaves in a battery, right? And it's like, but that's hypothetical. Like what is reality? That's really what The Matrix brought you. Like what is real?
Sure.
Okay. But the thing that Dune is, the reason why I like it is it actually shows you how the world's working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like belief systems, economics,
Yeah.
like it's like, who cares if we're a brain in a vat, bro? Like that's secondary. This is what's literally happening right now. But they don't see it through the movie because they're like, oh, it's just like, because I was trying to think of it like if I was a little kid watching this at 12, right? When I saw The Matrix, right? When I saw The Matrix, I didn't get it. I was like, okay, were they like kind of like these robots? And all right, they're fighting for safety. You know what I mean? You have that superficial story, but then you watch it later as an adult, you're like, oh, they were telling us some deep knowledge. So imagine bringing a kid to see Dune and then they didn't get it, but it's like, right? You know what I mean?
Of course,
like, it's like story is not like great. It's just like a basic uprising story, but it's like within that basic uprising story, you're doing a social commentary.
Yes, that's what sci-fi is.
And I think that's, yeah, I was about to say, you told me that before, which is like why you love sci-fi, like Battlestar Galactica and like all that stuff, because like sci-fi is literally telling you about your life through a fictional world that doesn't really exist.
Right. Exactly.
But it's very close to what we live. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You know? That's why I like Dune. And like Star Wars is also good, but you were saying that Dune ripped off Star Wars. I mean,
Star Wars ripped off.
Star Wars ripped off Dune.
Yeah.
Like with the Force and stuff. All right, so to get back to it, I thought it was really interesting how she was saying, if you kill the Messiah, they become more powerful. You know, and it's like, dude, that's literally our lives, man. Right? Like when the Buddha died, you just create these stories because it's like, because you said hope, right? And it's really just what you can make people believe. Right? It's like, that's why they say don't meet your heroes, right? Because if you like meet them and you're like, oh, they're so human.
Sure.
You're kind of like, took the magic away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you get what I'm saying?
No, I get that. Yeah.
If they're alive, there's fault. But if they're dead, then whatever story you tell is like what people believe, and then you're like, he never made a mistake.
But we do that. We
never ate water. You know what I mean?
No, but yeah, we generally do that too, right? When people die, we don't talk about the bad things. We just talk about the good things.
Right.
That's what we leave.
Actually, I've been to a funeral where they did that. Like where they were being realistic, everyone's being like lovey. I won't say what funeral it was, but it was really funny because it was like they were like, "Oh my god, this person was great," and then the other person's like, "Let's not forget that he also had this problem." And I was like, "That's a good point."
Well, this person probably was affected by it, but like, or something like that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, like touched deeply by that moment. But you're right, though. It's like when they die, we paint this like glowing. It's almost like when you die, you're elevated to like some different status.
yeah. I mean, there's a level of trying to be respectful, that kind of thing. So, but when we do that, we in a way venerate them or that kind of stuff. We only tell the positive things. Yeah.
I think in Catholicism, because I remember this when we were growing up, that everyone was talking about Mother Teresa, right? And they're like, oh my God, she's still alive when like I was a kid, and then she died, and then like no, they were saying she can't become a saint until she's dead, and I was like, I don't get it. And then she died, she became a saint, but it's like, yeah, because then you can create this narrative, you can create the story. She was always with. She never had an outburst, but imagine meeting her in real life, and she like drops a pen, she's like, oh F, and you're like, oh, that's human, you know what I mean? But like, we can paint these pictures in our mind,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, that's what the movie was trying to tell you, though. You know, it's like, all right, let's get into like the determinism aspect of it and like the fate aspect of it. Because this one hit me deeply too. As I was watching it, I was like, all right, you and I both believe in determinism, right? It's like it's just mathematical. It's like a domino effect, right? But we just can't see the pattern.
Sure.
Because it's like too, like from the Big Bang, how we get here. You can always trace back, like, well, that happened because of this, and that happened because of that, right? But we can't see it in our minds, like we can't compute it, right? And I think that life for Paul or Timothy's character was just happening, and then it just perfectly aligned with everything that they were saying. You know what I'm saying? Like how people were like, "Oh, it's a prophecy," you know?
Yeah.
And then everything seemed coincidental. Like Paul's character was like, "Bro, I'm not the Messiah. Like this was just like this just happened." Remember, like, "Oh, he will know our ways," and he's like, "Yeah, because I was brought up, educated. Like I watched the videos before I landed."
Yeah. Right.
Remember that?
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah. He already studied, beforehand. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then the guy was like, the guy who believed in him was like, he was piecing everything together, and it was like, but you taught him. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't look at the freaking. You know, he's like he will ride the worm, and it's like, but you taught him how to ride the worm, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like he will know how to sandwalk because he watched the video before he landed.
Yeah.
So it was all just like such a coincidence.
But I think
the believer side.
Yes, exactly. I think that's because he's a staunch believer, right? He's looking for this.
Yes.
He's looking for this hero, or for him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Here's the other crazy part. So remember, like they're like the mom will. Oh yeah, I should write spoilers on this one because we're just straight talking. But so remember when the mom drank the poison?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, she will not die from drinking the poison. And then Zendaya's character was like, oh, your mom's dead. And then she came back, and then the guy was like, see, it's another sign, the believer.
Right.
Who's that guy? He was in so many movies.
He was. I don't
want to say like the guy.
I don't want to say his name. I don't know his name offhand.
It's like Zendaya, and then you have Paul, and then you have the staunch believer.
I got this cake.
Would you find that bad boy? Because I want to at least reference like the guy. So
Javier,
or whatever.
Stilgar was his name.
So
the character name.
Okay, cool.
But Javier Bardem.
All right, so Stilgar.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the Stilgar guy, when just so many things lined up well. So he's like his mom won't die from drinking the poison, and he's like, no, she's a mystic. She like learned how to transmute poison. So it's like it just. But then he's like, no, see, there's the sign. So it's like the whole juxtaposition in the movie was like.
I wonder also, like, is she playing into this character too? Like she's playing it.
Oh, she knew that she could do it.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting. Oh, wait.
Because they're trying to convince everybody. Yeah.
Wait, hard pass. Am I freezy at all?
No.
Okay, cool, because I realized I didn't plug the Wi-Fi in. So.
No, I think you're okay. I didn't see your freezy.
All right. Okay, that's weird. It's weird that it's fine. Okay, so anyways, yeah, so maybe she was playing into the thing because she knew about the prophecies and all that stuff. So maybe she was playing chess, but remember they're like we're Benny Jesuits or whatever.
Yeah. They're trained for these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, and not just trained, but like remember they're like we don't hope or something. We plan.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it's like everything they did was like a meticulous plan.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is she playing into that? Right. If this is
yeah,
planned.
exactly. Yeah, and then it made me think of the movie now because I'm like again, there's that juxtaposition. It's like, is it planned? Is it coincidence? Why do they believe it? And it's almost like showing you that life literally just happens, and you're making a story. You're trying to move things in chess pieces, and then however things play out is how you rectify that explanation in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's like it's like star sign people who are like they believe like they read the horoscope and it's like, oh, it said this, oh, it fit, oh, see, you know what I mean? He was kind of like the believer's character. I already forgot his name. The believer's character,
Stilgar,
the believer Stilgar. So Stilgar's character, he probably believes in horoscopes, bro. This guy was like, eating everything up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, he was.
And it was weird.
But he's saying as written. I don't know if he's read any of the written stuff. It's just what he's probably heard, and he's just saying as written.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah. Do you remember when he rode the worm, and then they cut to the next scene where the worm is like there's a depiction of a person riding a worm.
Yeah.
And then that's the Messiah, right?
Right.
Like they're like, well, the Messiah.
Yes.
But it's like, but you all can ride worms.
Yes.
Why is this? Right? You know what I mean? But okay, this is the thing I wonder. If you have a universe with infinite possibilities, right? I just have to write something down, and then if you give it enough time, it will end up coming true.
Mm-hmm.
You just make it vague enough, like somebody will be born and rule the entire world, and he'll build a kingdom of peace and love. It might not be right now, but give it 1,000 years. There might be a moment in time where that does happen, and I'll look like a goddamn prophet. But it's like, no, I just, I just said it, and the universe made it happen. So like, I'm not thinking that the prophecy is not real. I'm just wondering who made the prophecy, and were they just guessing? And it's just, hey, this is just happening now. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's like it wasn't predicted. It was just like he just wrote it down because he wanted to like save himself because he was sad.
Mm-hmm.
The prophecy writer. Like, what do you think?
Do they all come from the witches? Like they told
that prophecy,
those stories? Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Wait. If that's true, okay. If it did come from the witch, like because Paul's mom became
in the movie,
witch.
in the movie, they're the ones that I feel like they're in control of a lot of things. It's not.
Okay, totally, 100%. So, but didn't they say that in the first movie? Remember, like we're gonna bring him to that planet.
Yeah.
So maybe they had written it and it had been passed down to like we're just waiting for the moment when we can execute on this plan. Okay, so with those Benny Jesuits people, I thought it was Jesuit.
No,
and I googled that Jesuit. It means like Jesus believer, and I'm like, wait, that makes no sense. What
Benny
is the
Jesuit?
Like,
Jesuit is it?
Jesuit. Okay,
I don't know.
So
yeah.
We'll call them the precogs.
Sure.
They're the precogs. All right. So with those people, there's a really interesting thing that happens. It like leads into what I was going to talk about with me and Wob going to Vancouver for that shoot, and it's weird how things align this way. But anyways, so I pieced out a lot of things, right? Like I could see the pattern playing out in my head. I was like, if I do this, then this could happen. And if this happens, then that'll happen. And if that happens, that'll happen, right? I just chess pieced it all the way down, right? And if you're able to chess piece things out, you can seem like a prophet.
Sure. Yeah.
Or like, you know what I'm saying? Or if you just remember they said like you have to know the past to know the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he had to drink the poison in order to like gain that knowledge. But it's like if you understand how cyclical natures of society work, you can predict, oh yeah, America's going to fall eventually. And then when it falls, you're like, oh my god, he's a prophet. But it's like, no, I saw the signs, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
are they
yeah.
prophets? Are they precogs? Or are they able to just see the future? Oh, no, sorry, no, not see the future. Are they able to just see the chess moves?
In what it would happen. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
But that's what they were doing, right? They were testing these people. Okay, what does he have? What's his weakness? So that's knowledge to know
Yes.
what's going to happen with this person. What could happen with this person? So that's what that was all about.
Yes. And oh wait,
You're
what
like,
just happened here? Oh, I was like, oh, what happened? I'm like, so yes, totally. I agree with you. And that's why I'm like, well, I agree with you that maybe they were pulling the strings, and that's what we're all watching now. Like, what if that's like the big twist at the end?
mm-hmm.
You know, there was no prophecy. I made this happen.
Maybe.
And
yeah.
then how would that
Right.
unfold? How would that unfold with the believer?
Mm-hmm.
Like it really talks about like our own society's belief systems. Like when you find out that a cult leader is a liar, like with the Osho stuff,
Yeah. Right.
right? Like, and then remember Wild Wild Country,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like, and then you look now and you see still people believing in him, even though you found out that there were some nefarious things going on.
Sure.
It's like this movie is really a depiction of our belief systems
Mm-hmm.
and the extremes of it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just more and more evidence that like we don't know what's going on. We just like cognitive dissonance it. We just create the story to make it fit. You know, we're like,
no, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Where it's like that's what the writer was trying to say, which is that it's not good to blindly follow or blindly believe.
Well, then there has to be like a negative ending to this then,
Oh,
because right now it looks like it's going up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, it's working.
Right.
But then if there's a downfall, then we're like, oh, that was the wrong move. All right. But it's true though. Like it is important not to blindly believe. Like with the cult documentaries you can watch, it's like, oh, it always goes wrong. Like when you put your belief system in another person, I guess maybe that's what it's trying to say. It's like they all put their belief in Paul, but it's like Paul's human too. If Paul,
but
if you blindly
they were
believe
trying to
Paul's
say,
say,
they were trying to say it right. Like your father would not have taken revenge. You're
right.
Like these are you're doing
exactly.
things not what your father would have done.
Right. And maybe he's like Darth Vader, bro. Maybe that's where they got the idea of Darth Vader.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. No, because remember you said like he stole the thing, right?
Right.
He stole like storylines to make Star Wars. Because if you watch Star Wars Episode 1 to now, or like 1 to 9, it's not about Luke. But we started at 4.
Right.
So we all think that Luke is the hero. But the actual anti-hero of the whole series is Anakin.
Yeah. Right.
If you watch it from 1 to the end, you watch his story arc of him being a child to becoming an evil and then redeeming himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So what if that is actually where this is headed? Like, he starts off good, then he becomes evil. Because he's about to wage war.
Yes.
This is literally Darth Vader's story. No, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, let's wage war.
Yes. Yeah.
And then now he has the Dune army on his side to go fight people.
Yeah.
Which is like the Republic in Star Wars. Remember, he's like he got turned from Darth Vader. He became Anakin became Darth Vader, and then he started like ruling with the troops, and then they ruled over the galaxy.
Yeah.
So what if Paul's about to do that?
Yeah.
Remember, he said, "I foresee bloodshed and people starving and dying throughout the universe because of me." He foresaw him turning to the dark side.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is like a very interesting. Like, this is probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah, once I read that he's an anti-hero, that's what changed it. I was like, "Ooh, that's a different outlook."
Oh wait, quick question. Am I pixelated at all?
No.
Wow, you're looking pixelated on my side. Maybe it's me. Like, it's just
maybe the upload is good, just not the download.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll continue. So maybe I'll just plug it in so I stop worrying.
Sure.
Okay, it's plugged in now. So yeah, like, well, it's funny because imagine if people are listening to this and they're like, dude, I read the book. Obviously, those were heads. You know, it's like just read the book, bro. You'll see what the outcome is.
We'll see. I don't know. Now maybe I
one.
do want to read the book because there is differences now, right? There is some changes.
But it has to be.
It's still
like,
gonna follow
better.
the same thing, but I want to do it with
like,
the audiobook though. I don't want to like just read it.
Yeah, exactly. People who claim that books are better, I don't get it, man. Like, what do you mean? Because like, sure, you get like their insights and stuff,
yeah.
But like, you can't see it. You're creating this world in your mind,
Yeah.
And then it's like,
yeah.
You know, when they have like heavy descriptions, like sand, and then there's a worm, and you're like thinking about like what's that worm gonna look like? You know,
but now that's true before a movie, but now there's a movie, you have something to visually pull from.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I'm just hoping the philosophy is better in the book, or no, like more in depth in the book, because like that's really what I care about. If it's just a story, it's like who cares about the story? Yeah. Yeah, there's so much to unpack here. Like, do you like which side are you on? Are you on the Zendaya side? Are you on the believer side? Are you on the Bene Gesserit side? Are you on the economic side?
Well, yeah, if you're on
like, who are you gravitating towards in this?
Well, now that if he is the anti-hero, he's disrupted the flow of everything. He's disrupted economy.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? That's what it comes down to. Literally just economy. It's like gas prices. That's literally what they're talking about. Like the spice is just like oil.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. It's always about business. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's funny because that's almost like what the movie was showing you too. It's like, if you really look at the movie, it's like, oh, that's cute that you guys are talking about spirituality and all that stuff, but we really just want to make money. You know, because it's like that's how the universe operates.
That's true.
It's like that's how we space travel.
Yeah.
You know, you guys would not be important if we didn't need the thing. You would just be like some random desert planet that nobody would care about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's true.
But it's because we need the resource.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a planet that people want to live on, right?
Yeah, you don't want to like live there. You're literally just taking resources from it, and that's why we have to care about your Messiah story.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Let's talk about the spiritual trials, because there was a huge, like, the spirituality in the movie was very interesting. Was it just me, or did the water of life? Actually, wait, no. Let's talk about the water, because that was really cool. When people, because they are like from the desert, and Mary's like, don't throw up, don't cry, don't waste your water on anything.
Yeah.
It's like, that's true, because you need the water.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's how you would look, you know. Like, imagine that outlook. Like, that's why they're so steel-hearted. You know, they don't cry because, like, we need the water.
Right, yeah. It gives a different thing. You're like, oh, they're not emotional. But they are emotional.
Like,
there's a reason why it's wasteful.
It's a resource.
Right, it's a desert planet. Water is super sacred.
Yeah. And I also really liked how they would suck the water from the dead. Not for the spiritual purpose, but like when they killed their enemies, they would take the water, remember? And then they're like, oh, it's kind of like polluted water, but it's good for what it does.
Yeah.
Because they need the liquid, right? And they kept referencing like, oh, that's a lot of water if they're going to die. Remember, like, Zendaya's character, like, thought that he would die. So she's like, oh, that's a lot of water that we could just take, you know?
Yes.
And then the coolest one for me was when they brought back the dead body of their fallen comrade, and then they put the water back in the giant wellspring.
Yes.
And then even the mom was like, "Oh, that's a lot of souls." And it's like, "Oh, that's so interesting." You're like visualizing the return of a soul through this like liquid, like this, like you're like visualizing a spiritual component that we can't see.
Yeah.
The soul going back to the well. Yeah, I like that they did it that way, and how they said like, even if we were dying of thirst, we would never drink from this water.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing.
Right? It's like,
That's the level of their
Wow.
religiosity, right? Their spirituality in
Yeah,
that
belief.
aspect. The belief, yeah, that there's a ton of water here, but this is not.
yeah.
This can't be touched. This is too sacred.
So, okay. That is an interesting thought because it's like when you break free of those spiritual confines, you almost become free to do anything.
Hmm.
So what I mean is like if I believed in their system, I would not drink that water even if I was starving.
Sure. Yeah.
Or thirsty. But because I'm not, I'm like, hey, it's water. Let's just drink it, guys.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like religion gives you a structure.
It can, but it depends on. There's different ways of looking at it. You can change the story to where it's like, no, they're joining. If you're drinking it, then it's more like they're part of us. There's different ways you can write a story.
Oh, right. So this is what I mean. It's like it's all just happening. I'm thirsty, but it's like, what do I need to convince you of?
Exactly.
This movie is like marketing matters.
Yeah,
bro.
it's like
it's
like
right?
this water could save you. You could grow a lot of stuff, but here you don't. We want you in this position where you don't have power and you're stuck
Right.
underground. So like I don't know who made that
Yeah,
religion
yeah,
up, right? So who's setting them
Yeah,
up
yeah,
for
yeah, no,
failure in a way? Yeah.
But okay. So how crazy is it? Like, let's look at it like life, right? Like real life. If you know that life is just a story you tell yourself, why don't you just hijack that narrative and create any story you want?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, you just need enough belief to commit and follow through on that story. Like they did it with Paul too, when he was like, I'm not the Messiah, and then you have to believe in yourself. And then like he drank the poison. He's like, okay, you could see like the turning point where he started to believe in his own narrative, which is that he's the Messiah.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to do it because he wanted to rule the world,
Mhm.
the galaxy.
Yeah.
Remember, he wants to become like the final ruler, the king, right?
Right.
But is that all it is? It's just like, okay, if I can chess piece this out enough, then I know where I'm headed. All I have to do is trust my moves and keep moving in that direction.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this will work out. We just have to follow the process.
Right.
Despite the pain, despite the suffering, like as long as we stick to the plan.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just stick to the plan, Paul. Just stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Like what? Like remember when he's like, but I don't even know if this is a part of the plan or it just like they just said it when the final battle when the guy was like, "Don't stain your sword on this guy."
Hmm.
Remember, like he was gonna fight him, and like his friend was like, "Don't stain your sword. Let me
Oh,
fight
let
him."
me
He's
fight
like, "No." Remember, and then he was like, "No, this is my burden to carry." And then the believer was like, "Look at him. He's
Exactly.
like, he's a modest man." You know what I mean? Or like he chose like what is the name of? So Paul, you could tell he was making a joke out of it when he's like, "Oh, what's your warrior name?"
Right.
Remember? And he's like, "Oh, the kangaroo mouse," because it's like he's feeble, whatever.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
like
they're making a joke, and then the believer's like, "Hey, nobody laugh. That is the deepest choice because he's the most knowledgeable." And he just made like a story of why, like, no, this is the correct move.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
or he's humbling himself, or when he's like, "I'm not the Messiah," and he's like, "Look how humble he is. Doesn't want to call himself the
See,
Messiah."
that's the thing.
And
Yeah.
you're like, "What,
Yeah.
bro?" It's almost like once you believe something, you can't break that belief, bro. Like
Exactly.
they're stuck in the matrix.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That is crazy. But I love how the movie didn't tell you this. Like you come away with it because you're like, "Oh, that's who that character played." And like that's the
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what I heard. That this director is more about visual. He doesn't do a lot of dialogue. Even there's a lot of dialogue in the movie, but it's not. It's more focused on the visual. That's how he's trying to tell the story.
Right. They're not gonna like spoon feed you
Yeah.
what's happening.
Exactly.
Okay, I just saw this on social media, but Brothers Soon got canceled after one season.
Mhm.
I didn't finish the last episode. But talk about spoon feeding. We were watching the episode and like there's one where the brother gets mad at his friend and then you're like, "Oh, he's doing this to save him."
Hmm.
Right? Like cuz he doesn't
Yeah,
want him
yeah.
to join the gang.
Right.
And then And then you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then he walked towards his mom, and his mom's like, you're a good kid. You did that to save him. I was like, bro, like, no, we could have drawn that conclusion. You didn't need to tell us. You know what I mean? Whereas like Dune's like, you could draw the conclusion if you want or not, you know?
Yeah, it leaves it up
right?
to the audience. Right.
Right. Guy Ritchie said that. He's like, if you have the eyes to see, you'll see what's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we don't need to tell you. For some people, it's like that's a cool story, but then the people who really know what's going on, they could see the parallels of like life and
Sure.
what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
and again, that's why Dune beat The Matrix for me, because it's like they jam packed it with so much stuff in
Right.
there. So the poison thing, did it not remind you of like ayahuasca? Like they all these are like rituals that they all do. There's like a spiritual component
Mm-hmm.
to it,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
to
yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like he's like he has to drink the poison in order to like see the truth.
Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Which is like psychedelics, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally doing this, and what's crazy is like, remember the spice? They're like, I thought it was like they literally meant spicy when Paul was eating, and then he started tripping out, and then she's like, "Oh, it's too spicy for him," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know they use pepper here," and it's like, and then he's like, "There's spice in the food."
Right.
When Paul was like tripping, he's like, "Oh, they put spice in here," and it's like, and that's why their eyes turn blue
Yes.
because they're like eating the spice.
That's another thing that wasn't told to you directly. Unless it was in the first movie.
blue thing.
Yeah, the
Oh,
blue
it's that
thing.
first movie.
Yeah, it's in the first movie. Yeah.
They just didn't want to explain it this time.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So like the spice thing was interesting because it's like, you know, like Rastafarians,
Mm-hmm.
they're always like smoking ganj, right?
Sure.
And that's like the spice. They're always in an elevated state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wonder what happens because they're leaving the planet, right? They're going back. They're going for war. What's gonna happen if they don't have the spice? Like those people, are they gonna like?
Yeah, that I wonder now.
Lose their abilities? You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. Are they being controlled by the spice? If they're, if they, whatever the word is when you stop doing things.
Yeah. Like abstain from it. Yeah. I know what
Yeah.
you're trying to say.
Do they lose that
Ability to see,
or to just blindly follow? Right? They become more critical of what they're seeing. Like you come out of it.
Yeah. No, totally. Maybe. Okay. With that, who's controlling who then? Because you're like, oh,
Yeah,
they're
that's
being
what I'm
controlled by the spice.
It-
No, but like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because
Finish your thought.
it changed for Paul after he took it.
Yeah, because he started to see the future.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, I'm able to like, and then they needed to ramp it up to the next level, so they used the worm piss or whatever,
Yeah.
life water. You know what I mean? Like, so it's almost like you have. That's why I'm like, oh, it has a psychedelic component to this movie because, like, you have like the low level psychedelics, which is like ganja, weed, and like that's almost like what they're imbibing in daily. Right? It's like the Rastafarians. And then if you want to take it to the next level and see even further, you take a harder psychedelic, which is like ayahuasca. And you could see into your mind more.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, that's the parallel there. But when you said who's controlling who, so what if, because with the stone date theory, right? We were all monkeys and then we ate mushrooms and then we started to have creativity and like open our minds and stuff. What if we're all being controlled by these psychedelics to make innovations? Like what if like in real life, what if in real life we think we're creative because there's so many people who attribute their breakthrough ideas to psychedelics, like Steve Jobs, like there's a whole list online, you could just Google it, like all these like Nobel Prize winners who like have utilized psychedelics to create their invention. Right. So it's like, was that your idea or was that the plant's idea?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that
that's
Paul's idea or is that the spice's idea? You know what I mean? So it's like, maybe these plants want to off-world because why are we so obsessed with going to Mars right now? Maybe the plants are like, okay, we've done our job, we've colonized this planet, and then the mushrooms are like, let's go to another planet and colonize there.
Yeah.
So we think that we are in control, but it's like the drug's in control.
Right.
The mushroom compound is trying to expand.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
just like
And they're here
right, and
longer.
just like the
They were here
spice,
longer than us. Right.
right? Yes. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. Yeah. If you watch like Paul Stamets when he talks about it, it's like we are mostly mushroom,
Mm-hmm.
like us and the planet. So like fungi.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like fungus, some mushrooms. Yeah. But so if that's all true, and then you link it to Dune, it's like, what if the spice wants to off-world? Like, who's really in control?
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like, again, so meta,
Yeah,
because
there's
you're
so
like,
many.
right? Like we believe we're in control because that's the story we told ourselves. But if you look at it as if it was an organism independent of you, you're like, let's just look at this scientifically. Then you can see how theoretically maybe we're being controlled by the mushrooms. Maybe the mushrooms are forcing us to off-world because it wants to off-world.
Yeah.
Maybe the spice is creating Paul to become the Messiah because it wants something.
Sure. Right. Mm-hmm.
That sounds like so crazy.
No, like it just
But,
wants
like,
the
it makes
destruction.
total
It
sense.
wants to. It was being,
Abused.
abused of its resources. Now
Yeah.
it's retaliating. It is basically him destroying the economy. Is the
Oh,
spice?
dude, that's so meta. Okay, yeah. Yes. So maybe because they kept like hurting the planet for the spice and spreading it throughout the galaxy, the spice is utilizing Paul to be its weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and take down
Right.
the economy that abused it.
Mm-hmm.
This is some high talk, bro. Like, what are we talking about right now? But like, it's true though. Like, that's like very applicable. Actually.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Exactly.
That's trippy.
So that's what I like about these movies, where it's not spoon feeding you. It's allowing you to take what you want from it. So we're just breaking it down here. Here's another thing. Here's another thing. That's what sci-fi movies do. Good sci-fi movies.
You know what's? Yeah, totally. That's why it became my number one. But you know what's weird when you think about this? It's like everyone thinks about like a spiritual experience or a let's say life-changing experience. Everyone attributes like psychedelics to like a life-changing experience. And Michael Pollan, he made this book about he's like a botanist, right? And like a chef or something like that. But a nutritionist. He's like he's the one who wrote like Eat Plants. I forgot what it was, but he's anyways. So he did like a bit of a tangent, and he wrote a book on psychedelics. And what he was saying is that the thing that psychedelics do is, let's say you're tobogganing, right, down a hill, and then you keep tobogganing down the hill. So you're like, oh, like what happens when you toboggan down the same path? It gets faster, smoother, like the snow gets packed down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then like you can zip down that. And that's our neural pathways that are strengthened, and we just like become habits.
I got you.
Right?
Yeah.
But what he said was, with psychedelics, it's almost like dropping fresh snow on the mountain, and now you can go different paths now. It opens your mind to new possibilities,
Right.
which is why the invention thing is applicable, right?
Right.
They're like, I attribute psychedelics to the invention, right? So it's like the spice and like what I'm trying to say is you don't need those psychedelics to create a new pathway. Even though he needed the spice, but like I think we can achieve life-changing paradigm shifts without psychedelics. Like life does do that. And I think that movie was kind of like that. Like, did you feel that? Like, I didn't need to be under the influence to like be like, mind blown. But when I saw that movie, I was like, oh, this totally changed my perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like a psychedelic experience watching this movie.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think good art and taking away good life experiences can do that for you. You know what I mean? Like going to Canmore and seeing the mountains, I was like, oh, we are tiny. Like it was a psychedelic experience, but I
Yeah.
wasn't under the influence.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And like people living that's their daily experience.
And then you habituate to it. And it's like, that's, you know? And then that's why you become it was funny because like I work with different people around Canada, right? And when I went to Canmore, because there are people I work with in Canmore, I was like, oh, I get you now. Because I'm so go, 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 because that's Toronto.
Sure. City
But
life.
there,
Yeah.
I was like, why? Yeah, right. But they're like slower, they're more chill. And I was like, why are you guys like this? Like, how are we going to move? And then you see it and you're like, oh, yeah, if I lived here too, I'd probably not care at all about like this computer work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that's all you see, which is just like,
Yeah, there's two different things, right? Yeah, they're in a slow world in that sense. Well, when you're living in a city, everything's moving quickly. People are going things.
Yeah.
You get habituated to that feeling, right?
like
that's the norm. That's your norm.
Yes. Yeah. Your daily experiences and your surrounding really creates who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all think it's like I'm a byproduct of like this XYZ thing. Like, you know, everyone's like nature versus nurture.
I was just supposed to bring that up.
Really like, well, what?
I was just
nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because everybody like they have that debate, and it's like, oh, it's both. But it's like we don't realize how true that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like Paul became a whole different person by living on Dune.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't go to Dune, he would have just been like a prince.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do, just like you know what I mean? Like in the first movie, how he's a very insecure person. And then you look at him now, he's like if you look at Paul from the first movie to this movie, he became like totally different.
Yeah.
Remember, he's like, I challenge anyone, nobody in this room could fight me.
Yeah.
He never said that before. No. Right? And then he was like, are you scared of me? You know, he's like calling them all out. Like he would have never done that in the first movie. So again, another takeaway is like your environment really shapes who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a crazy thought. So it's like, how can anyone possibly be like, how can we ever all get along? Because we're dealing with so many different perspectives.
Yeah, that's the thing that we shouldn't forget. That everybody's got different levels or different layers to their life that they're living. Yeah.
And I can't fault you. Like, why would you also get mad at someone if you understand this very basic principle, which is like everyone's shaped by their environment and their experiences? Then why would you ever get mad at somebody for just avoid them? You know?
Sure. Yeah.
It's like if they're being like a certain way, it's like, okay, you're just not for me. But you don't have to like vilify them. It's just who they were in that moment. You know? They're just like a causal chain. Like we are at the whim of something greater than ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? Right? But also at the same time, I think if you break free from the story of like once you realize the true power, I think that's like really enlightenment, which is you realize that you have this thing called a mind that's dictating everything, and you are separate from your mind.
Right.
Yeah, like I feel like that's the epitome of enlightenment, because then you're like, I don't need to be attached to a story.
Yeah,
I can create my own stories.
Right.
You know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really interesting. And then you just have to, it's almost like you just have to figure out what story you want to work with. And then that becomes your story that you can reinforce over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, like the My Life of Video Game stuff, like Life's an Adventure. Like all those things were just created, and I just kept building upon those things. But they were just stories. Like, like really, life is just a story.
Yeah, it's the strength of your belief in your stories.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But okay. Here, check this out though. You said belief. So I was thinking about this one, and Osho's the one who put me onto this. Okay, I'll see what you think. So here's two phrases. Life is chess, not checkers. Believe in your moves. There's one. And then life is chess, not checkers. Trust in your moves. That's two. Which do you gravitate towards? Because you said believe, right?
Which do I
Is it belief or
believe?
trust? Is it trust or belief? Which is more powerful, trust or belief? Is the real
I think
question.
belief is more powerful.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Belief is what most people gravitate towards. It's like hope,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's why. But you can,
Right? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So I always go back to this story, which is when Pandora's box was opened, the last thing that came out was hope.
Hmm.
And people are like, oh, it's because, although there's negative stuff that comes out, like you have the ability to bring them all back through hope. And I'm like, no, no, no. Hope was in Pandora's box, the deadly
Hmm.
sins. Hope is what can control you,
Yeah.
right? Just like belief. If I blindly believe something, which is what's his name? My guy,
Stilgar?
what? Stilgar?
Stilgar?
Stilgar. All right, cool. So if you're like Stilgar and you just believe no matter what,
Sure.
that's a problem. So Osho said, don't believe, trust. And I was like, what do you mean? And then
Mhm.
like he goes into it more. He's like, because trust can be broken. And that's Zendaya's character. I trust you're going to love
Right.
me forever.
Sure.
I trust that you're going to do, and her trust is broken. I remember when she like walked out, he's like, I'll love you forever. She's like, all right, cool. Yeah, he's going to love me. And then I want your daughter's hand in marriage. And then boom, her trust is broken. Like, I can't trust you anymore.
Hmm.
That's the one thing, right? Like once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to come back.
Hmm. Sure.
Whereas
Right.
belief, you start shaping the story, like Stilgar.
Right. That's why I said it was more stronger or more
It's
powerful
it's
than trust.
it's more powerful because you can control people.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that trust is the more freeing one. It's like when you know that there's a story that you can create in your own head,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Then it's like that higher level. It's just slightly higher, which is like, okay, this is the game we're working with. I can create my own stories, right? Just like belief. It's like, okay, well, I can be hijacked through belief.
Hmm.
So I'm just going to trust, you know? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but trust can lead to if it breaks the trust, it could go into disarray for that person.
Yeah, because you're never going to trust again.
Yeah.
Totally. I agree with you. But that's why it's the harder metric,
Sure. Yeah.
which is like, it's the harder barometer. Because like belief, it's like, oh, okay, but like, no, it'll work out. Trust me, it'll work. I don't know. Believe me, it'll work out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have like 20 mistakes and you're like, believe me, it'll still work out. But then if you have 20 mistakes, it's like, trust me, you're like, dude, I don't trust you, bro.
Sure.
Trust but verify.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the Russian motto, right? Trust but verify, right? They don't say believe but verify because belief, you don't need to verify anything. I just believe in you, bro.
exactly.
But that's why you can be controlled by belief,
Hmm.
but you can't be controlled by trust. And that's why Osho is like not into belief, he's into trust. But that's why I think that Osho, like people are like, oh, Osho had so many Rolls Royces and Osho was a bad person. I'm like, no, I think Osho lived by his tenets. This guy knew that we're just creating stories.
Hmm.
So he's like, all right, I'm just going to create a story, bro. Give me all your money.
Right. Yeah.
And it worked. He's like, okay, cool. Well, what else can I get? Right? Like he's playing the game of manipulation.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because isn't anything that deals with crafting a narrative in someone else's mind manipulation? Because they didn't create it themselves.
Sure. Yeah.
You agree, right?
Yeah.
That's like marketing.
Yeah.
Like if I convince you to buy something that you didn't want to buy, I just manipulated you into buying it.
Hmm.
But we don't like the word manipulation.
Yeah.
But I use it because I'm like, this is what's happening, guys. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about Dune that you wanted to bring up?
No, it was. Yeah, I think it was interesting. We were only in Dune, really, not too much of other planets yet. So we'll see what happens with the Holy War to come.
Oh, that's true. But that could get lame, bro. I feel like the Holy War should take place on ships. Because, like, if you keep going to different, like, you're not gonna go from planet to planet killing these people, bro.
I don't know. We'll see.
Like,
I have no
your team
idea
of like,
what to expect from that. So, because I don't know the
like you have a
story.
team of
So.
like, remember he's like, I have 200 people, and he's like, wow, that's what you did with 200 people. It's like, well, we also have thousands in the
Mhm.
South,
Mhm.
right? But it's like, okay, but if you're dealing with billions, what is your army gonna do?
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
What are you thinking about?
No, I was just
You're
thinking.
pondering.
Yeah, all the times that Zendaya was trying to stop things, or just she was showing that she wasn't believing in this thing, and but there was the soldier or the army leader guy, Josh Brolin character. That was just like,
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
just sit, let it happen, let it happen. Like he's trying to.
Yeah. Yeah, because he sees it. He remembers Paul as a little kid, bro.
Yeah.
And he's like, but he's a strategist. You
Yes.
remember he's an army person.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many levels to this because it's like you see. It's like when the CIA infiltrates into a foreign land and they embed themselves with people, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna convert these people through like actions.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like this was a giant psyop for Paul,
Mm-hmm.
and his friend knew what was happening
Yeah.
because he taught Paul as a little kid.
Yes.
And he's just like, oh, I see the signs. Oh, okay, you guys are doing this. Okay, this is a psyop. Cool, let's do this. You know?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
like, it's this whole movie's a psyop, bro. That's what the whole but really, though, right? It's like, we're just going to play on this religious belief. Paul knew it wasn't.
Right.
But remember, Paul just wanted one way through. He's like, there's one way to survive this.
Yeah, but like there was
What do you
things.
think?
Yeah, after that is what it changed, right? Like he put away his dad's ring, then it
Yeah.
put
He
it back
put it
on
back.
after. But that was he always? He was never Fremen. He was always Atreides.
Okay, yeah.
That was the way to get
Well,
trust to follow him.
oh, then he put the ring.
Then he
took
put the ring
off,
back.
and
Yeah.
then he put it back on. That's true. Yeah, because when he put the ring back on, his friend was like, "Let's go, let's get him." It's sort of like, you know what it is? It's like when you see this all the time, like when like in movies and stuff. They're like, "You didn't go native on me, did you?"
Mm-hmm. All right.
You heard that before, right?
Yeah.
When it's like you embed yourself with the enemy, or you embed yourself with a different culture, and then it's like, "Well, I didn't lose you, right?"
Right.
Oh, it was in Avatar. That's where they said it.
They
Like,
said
you
it.
didn't go native, did you?
Oh, okay. Was it in
Remember
the Tom Cruise movie too? I don't remember.
Oh, Tom Cruise, maybe.
The one with the samurais. Last Samurai.
Oh, Last Samurai? I don't remember. I do remember it in
It was there in Avatar. No, I do remember that.
Remember he fell in love.
Yes. Yeah.
And then like, wait, you didn't go native,
Right.
right? Which is like, I wonder if that's derogatory now in this like time and age, right? Like, to say like you didn't go native. But anyways, who cares? But like,
But that
you know
was
what I'm trying to
the
say,
character
right?
was derogatory anyway, so that's why he said it.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. But like that is what this movie was. If you really look at it as an economics thing, and outside of Dune, like at its base level, like little kids who watch, it's like, yeah, Dune, save Dune. But if you watch it as like, no, this is an economics thing playing out. It's like, no, this is literally a psyop happening.
Right.
They needed to position themselves as the rulers of Dune so that they have control over spice. If they have control over spice, they're able to rule the galaxy. Now let's take a realistic example. If I go to Saudi Arabia and I know that the prince has control of all the oil, I'm going to try and marry that prince.
Mhm.
It's his daughter or wife, like a female, and then
Okay.
embed myself in that family,
Sure. Yes.
right? Which is what freaking Paul was doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you put it in those terms, you're kind of like, wait a minute, is this just like an economics battle?
Yeah.
But it
of
is
course.
just an economics.
Yeah.
It is just an economics battle because everything comes down to like economics, bro.
Mhm.
Which, okay, I wonder. All right, before I segue too far into this, is there anything else you want to bring up?
No, I think it was a really good movie in that sense.
Best movie of all time? I'm gonna buy them. I've been buying movies that like I've liked, and I'm like, I was kind of like on the fence, like, should I buy Dune? And after watching, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy Dune. Yeah,
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
buy that one and Dune too.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's a good point to have physical things because we were trying to watch it.
Oh,
before
digital,
watching.
bro. No. I'm gonna buy it on Apple.
Oh, yeah, or
I'm gonna
digital.
buy it,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but
buy it on Apple. Yeah. But you mean to have it, to own it? You mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So that at least you can, like, yeah, because we were all searching for streaming things. Nobody watched it except for you because you had it. So I was like,
Right. Exactly.
actually, I had it too, but I was like, no time. But yes, I'll buy it on Apple TV now. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to segue into this because it really made me think. What time are we at?
We're hour and 5 minutes now.
Okay. Cool. So it really made me think about, as we were entering this, I was like, this is where we're headed. This is going to be the future. And check this out, bro. So I read Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, and it's just undeniable now. Like, no, there are multiple alien races. They're here. It's not. It's just it's impossible to deny. And I don't give 5-star ratings to books about UFO stuff if it's like subjective. It's like, I saw the UFO. It's like, okay, I'm sure you saw it, right? But this is the book that I read, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. It's just case reports. And I'm like, how can you all be lying? Like senators talking about it, like what's happening, like where the money's moving around and like interactions they've seen. It's like if you brought this up the chain of command high enough and you're all independently reporting the same thing, there's chances are something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You agree?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Do you agree though? Like if everybody, like, let's say like 10 people came to you and like, hey, I was in this area and I saw this thing independently, you'd kind of be like, okay, what did you all see?
Yeah.
Right? Like I wouldn't be like, you're all making it up. Like, okay, what's happening here? Right? So, okay. I really feel we're about to find out that we are in a Dune experience. We haven't figured out how to tell ourselves. It links to like last week's podcast about that, but like opening up. But I get that because there's just so much evidence of different races, and like I feel like the universe is teeming with life. We just can't see it. Because even Albert Einstein said, like, there's definitely there's open possibility that there are things outside of our 5 senses. Right? So we base our reality off of our 5 senses.
Yeah.
Right? But bees can see radio waves. Dogs cannot see color. So it's like, so are you telling me that color's not real because the dog can't see it?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that the radio waves are real because the bee can see it and I can't? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just limited to our senses. So I think we're about to find out that there's a lot going on, and I wouldn't be surprised if Dune is our future. That's why I was excited to watch the movie, because the reason why is because you have all these planets, not even close to each other, but they're interacting with one another.
Right. Yeah.
And then what are these ships? What are these ships doing in our space? Okay, and I think that because they said this, like it was the religious studies professor, like what's the best way to educate people on a religion? Movies. What's the best way to educate people on what's going on? Movies. So with Dune, we're getting that. But Steven Spielberg, he wrote The Abyss, E.T., and Men in Black. I had to check Men in Black because one of the reports from the Skinwalkers at the Pentagon was literally a Men in Black opening scene where something happens, you have all these people that witness it, then people hop out in black suits and sunglasses. They literally wrote this before Men in Black came out. They came out in black suits and sunglasses, and they interviewed the people, and they're like, "Hey, it's best if you guys forget about this." There was no like, like the memory,
the flash thing.
There wasn't any of that. Yeah, there wasn't that. But they were like, "Hey, just don't mention this to anyone." So Steven and everyone who's in the UFO space accredits Abyss and sorry, not Abyss. Closing. I said Abyss. Abyss is one that people talk about too. It's Close Encounters,
Right.
E.T., and Men in Black, and they were all made by Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
Because Steven Spielberg was deep into that lore.
Right.
He got like in Close Encounters. There's a person that's in the UFO space that's highly accredited. People talk about him all the time. One of the characters written in that movie that Steven Spielberg added in represented that guy. So you know that Steven Spielberg knows some stuff. Just like I was saying, Christopher Nolan knows some stuff.
Right.
So would it be a huge shock if you found out like, hey guys, the stuff in this movie's kind of what was happening, right? We would accept it better.
Sure. Yeah.
Imagine watching Dune and then they're like, and it turns out this is really what's going on. We have this galactic empire, a bunch of different planets, and like our planet is just one of them. People visit all the time. We can go visit them if we want. We just haven't created the technology yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we would accept it.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I think people that are into sci-fi would, but I don't know. Like, if this is the thing is,
like when
you make it into this kind of genre, it's not everybody's watching this.
Fair, totally fair. But I feel inherently that we all know what is going on. We all know that 9-to-5 jobs are not it. That's not the reality of the situation. That's just what we do to make money. I think inherently people know that there's a bigger story out here. That's why they believe in religion.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that it would be more comforting if we found out, yes, something like Dune is actually happening right now. We're just one planet in a series of planets that's interconnected. Do you think so or no?
I hope so. Yeah.
Like, you really think that we'd have like chaos and stuff?
I don't know, but that depends on where people are at in their mindset of this.
Okay, that's fair. That's true. Or maybe we just need to wait a few more generations. That's why they're slowly releasing it now, so that the kids that grew up with like UAPs are real, by the time we're dead and they come out like, okay, yeah, UAPs are real, guys. You know what I mean? Like, we need the boomer generation to pass away so that it was like, hey, no trouble from you guys. And then, like, we'll be the old ones and they're like, yeah, galactic empires are real. And we'd be like, oh, yeah, I knew it. Right?
Yeah.
Versus freaking out. Maybe they just need to wait for them to pass away. But, okay, so this all links back to Cat Williams. So I thought Cat Williams was crazy after watching the Shannon Sharp thing. You can go back to that episode where I just like trashed all over him. Like, how could you read 3,000 books a day? It's impossible as a kid. Okay, you lived in your own, like, it was, I'm sure it was hyperbolic. Like, there was a lot of stuff that was blown out of proportion.
Sure.
But if you listen to what he's saying on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's literally talking about aliens in Dune, bro. So this is why I think this weekend, this like little experience of going to BC, watching Dune, listening to Cat Williams, it's like the universe is weirdly synchronous or like synchronized sometimes. Like, it's almost like things align perfectly in this one moment and you have this crazy mind-opening experience.
Right.
Okay? So I didn't even know Dune came out, bro. I was in BC and you said, hey, when are we watching Dune? And I was like, oh, it's out? All right, cool. Let's just Saturday. Remember I was like messaging you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had left to go on that BC trip. It seems so innocuous to the people that are like, see it? They're like, oh, don't you do that all the time? But you work for this company, whatever. But it's like, no, you don't understand. And I said it in the video and I'm going to say it again. Like, I said it multiple times. And it's going to be in video part 1 and part 2, where me and Wob literally were just kids with cameras faking that we had jobs. We were going around. Do you remember those photo hunts that we used to do?
Yeah.
We used to just go around. Or I took your photo all the time. Remember how many profile photos? I'm like, hey guys, you just want photos? Let's just get these photos done. You know, I pretended like you guys were my job. And then me and Wob would like, we'd venture out into like random places and like shoot things. Just like as if we were like explorers. And then I went on that trip in 2016, like pretend I'm on a job, bring all my camera gear, whatever, right? And then like now we're actually being paid to go out and do the exact thing that we faked.
Right.
It was like, dude, this is chess, not checkers, bro. And I knew all the steps. I was like, if I do this, I can do this. And if this happens, then this happens. I just had to wait for the steps to like actualize.
Mm-hmm.
So to people who see it, they're like, oh, that's like of course you go on that trip. Like it's an of course moment.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you don't understand how that pieced out.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to trust the moves. That's why I was like, life is chess, not checkers. Trust your moves. And like, that's why I ran to get the tattoo on literally the same day. I was flying home and I had that revelatory experience. I was like, wait a minute, this just happened. Like this 10-year journey
Right.
materialized in this one moment. And I was like, hold on, it is chess. So like, I even told Wob in the video, I'm like, we got off the plane, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go get this tattoo today. So I started messaging like tattoo artists as soon as I land, and like I found one who like, anyways, I won't even get, well, actually, no, it's a pretty cool story. So like, I was like, hey, do you have this time? And then she was like, kind of, and she was kind of like loafing on me. So then I messaged the best tattoo shop in Toronto. I was like, do you guys, because they were down the street, like they have multiple locations, but there's one down the street. I was like, do you guys have walk-ins? And they're like, oh yeah, we have a walk-in. And I was like, I'm trying to get this piece done, this like handwriting, like I wrote like Life's an Adventure, Play Wisely in my own handwriting. And then they're like, yeah, we do have a walk-in. And I was like, oh, what's the handle? So I look at the handle. She specializes in scripts. That's all she does. Synchronous, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You gotta admit, that's pretty crazy. Like, so I was like, oh, I'm down. And she's like, when can you come? Like the next hour. Let me just numb my arm. I'll go. And then like we watch Dune, and I'm like, wait a minute, this whole movie's about chess, not checkers, bro. You know? And it's like, it's weird how the universe can do that sometimes, but we don't see the steps. We don't see the patterns.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
You know? And I think like that's the message of Dune, bro. Like it's determined, but can you see the determined pattern?
Right. Yeah.
Right? You agree, or you think I'm just crazy? Maybe I'm like the believer dude. I'm like, what's his name? Stargate. Stilgar. Damn it, I'm really bad with names. Maybe I'm just pulling a Stilgar, where it's just like I'm thinking everything.
I don't know.
Like,
yeah, but again, that's not. Both could be true.
But maybe that's why it hit so hard watching Dune, because life was just happening and I was attaching the narratives. I'm like, oh, this really worked out. But it's like, no, it's just happening, bro. You know? But I felt like a freaking precog in that moment.
Sure.
I was like,
yeah.
and I totally made that happen. I made that happen.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Dune hit me so hard, because I'm like, which character am I? It's like, am I the crazy one? You know? Yeah. Okay. All right. What time are we at? I have one more thing I want. Oh, actually, no. Let's talk about Vancouver really, really quick.
Sure.
You know what's crazy? So I went to Vancouver, and obviously we did everything, which is I won't even out what we did, because it has to be like
It's
a work trip.
Okay.
Like, we did. So anyways, so we had a list, and we were able to achieve everything we wanted to do on that list. So one of the things on the list was hitting Maine and Hastings. Okay. Which is like the strip of homeless people. This is the worst strip in Canada.
Okay.
Not as bad as America. Bro, we were driving around, and I was like, oh, this is it? Like, I don't feel like there were people at the bus stop, and like, so like, imagine like zombies, just like homeless zombies, but then there were people waiting at the bus, and we were like sitting there, and I was like, oh no, they're just strung out, bro. There's a difference between like strung out homeless people and like aggressive homeless people. And I feel like America has aggressive homeless people. Like when I went to Austin, and they're like, hey, yeah, you can go to the bank machine, just watch out for the homeless people. And I was like, that's funny. And I literally was approached by homeless people being like, hey, you know, but these people were like on the sidewalk just tripping. It was more sad, because they were like, you're clearly on drugs. You're not gonna chase me, bro. You're tripping right now. You know, you see people like literally smoking crack, and like they made this little fire, and they were like warming their hands and stuff.
Right. Sure.
It's like, it's funny. So if that's the worst we have, there's nothing compared to America, bro. Like, what are we doing? Like, I really feel it. But what does that say about the best country in the world? You know what I'm saying? It's like, this was our worst. and we went there. We're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's bad. It's like sad, but it's not like I didn't feel endangered. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just want to bring that up because it's like the narrative. You know, like, oh, it's a bad place. And then you go and
Sure.
you're like,
Yeah,
it wasn't that bad.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Egypt,
because you
like,
add
oh,
that
bad
image
place.
of how bad it really is, or how
Which,
bad
like,
you
Dune,
think it
bro.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the narrative.
Mhm.
Again, it's like Dune. Okay, last thing. Actually, this one's really quick. Sorry. I sent you that CIA was preparing Ukraine for Russia to fight them for like 10 years and stuff. And it was
Mhm.
like in leaked documents.
Sure.
It just made me think like, dude, there's so much going on here that like if the CIA was embedded in Ukraine to like prepare them for this war that was like 10 years in the making, it's like what are the things that are happening that
But
we
wait,
don't see?
what did you get from that? Did you read
No,
the?
I didn't get it. No,
I was
I didn't
trying to
get it. I'm
get
just
to
like, oh, there's a
the
lot of stuff. Okay, cool. You got
get
it.
into the actual article, right? But I didn't read the full
Yeah.
article. I read some other things around it. It's Ukraine that came to CIA for help
Oh, interesting.
after
There you go. Marketing matters, bro.
after the Crimea situation.
Okay. So
And
it wasn't like
and
they
CIA
embedded
said
themselves.
CIA like was more like, okay, like Ukraine convinced them, but it was more like, we'll only help with intel. We're not, because we know this is going to have trouble with Russia.
Okay.
We're only doing
That's why I love
intel
that.
and not like missions for you.
This is why I love that you read into it because I just sent you that headline article and I was like, bro, what's going
Yeah,
on?
so that's what I'm saying. Like when I read the headline, I was like, oh, it seems like it's like CIA doing it, but it was Ukraine that asked CIA's help. So they're like, there is, it's good for America if you guys help us out, but like we're only doing intel because we know we're going to piss off Russia.
Right. It was framed as if
It's framed as if
CIA made the first move.
Yeah.
Fair. Marketing matters.
And
again.
I was like, and it said 10 years, right? 10 years ago is when the Crimea situation happened, where Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine. So that's why they came to US's help.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. I still hold that there is stuff going on that we have no idea about.
Of course,
yeah. You should always look into the.
But
the
no
facts.
one. The thing is, like I want to read the actual article where it first came out, which is in New York Times. But you have to sign up or probably like do the subscription to actually read it, because everything else I'm reading is not. It's like this is what New York Times says, but and then you're adding your spin to it. The other people.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to read the actual thing.
What if the hustle is that because they charge money, they hire these people to create clickbaity titles that reference back to the article so that you sign up in order to read it? It's like if I was a marketer, I'm like, hey, how do we boost sales for subscriptions? Like, oh yeah, I don't know. And we're like, okay, let's hire these people to write really clickbaity stuff and make you want to read the actual article.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that. No.
Right. That's too meta.
No, they're going only to their individual sources, and they're writing their own headlines to attract their people.
Okay, fine. That would be a crazy marketing scheme if you did that. Though.
It's too much. It's too many. I understand what you're saying. It's just it's too much. I think the chance of you getting someone to come and subscribe to you is very unlikely to succeed that way.
Okay, fair. It would be a really cool marketing tactic. I'm just saying, it's just like influencers.
I understand what you're saying, yeah, but I don't know who. Yeah, but who went in to search New York Times to look up for that actual article?
That's true. Because even you were like, paywall? No.
I was trying to can I freeze the screen and just read what's
that's funny. Screenshot it wait before the ad comes up so you can read it.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's what a kid of the 90s would think. Yeah.
And then I was looking at maybe Apple News has it. You know, like how Apple News you can subscribe. So I have I could do 3 months free or something. But New York Times is not. I didn't see it on mine. New York Times is not on there. So I was like, that's too bad.
Oh, that's lame.
Or else I would have done it.
That's funny. Like the subscription system is definitely better than like it's kind of annoying that you have to subscribe to certain things, but like it is cutting down on piracy. You know, with like the music and like all that stuff. But that is pretty annoying. Like, why are you gonna paywall information?
Yeah, I mean, like we're internet is free, right? So or like the things on the internet are free, so it's like it's very hard to justify just to paying for an article, right?
Yeah, fair, totally. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so quickly, as well, I forgot to mention this. Gran Turismo, you were right. Amazing movie. I saw it on the plane on the way to BC, and I was like the visuals of this thing. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out Gran Turismo. It's an underdog story. He made his dreams come true too.
Yeah,
he believed in the process.
Exactly.
But the way it was, filmed and created. I feel like even with remember Kaz pushing the virtual divide, you first showed me that, and I was blown away by the way that was filmed. I was like, this is innovative, right? And I feel like this one also was extremely innovative. The way they went from like the car to him playing the video game, it was like that's super stellar.
It was a really good video game movie in that sense, and it gave a lot of respect to Gran Turismo. And the thing is, you have to keep remembering the ones that they're showing in the movie were like today, like what I play as Gran Turismo. He was doing an older game, like PlayStation Gran Turismo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. That's what it looked like? Because it looked like the new game that you were.
No.
Like,
sorry. No. I'm saying that the visuals that they're showing are the new game, but the actual guy,
he played an old.
He played the old versions.
Okay, fair. Yeah. Okay,
so that means
like,
was the old ones that good? Like, even though the graphics were bad, I think it was about the mechanics and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, true. True, because the graphics wouldn't even be there.
No.
Yeah, that's true. I never even thought about that. Because when I was watching it, it looked like the game you played. So I was like,
well, yeah. That's because they're doing it for today's game.
And they want to sell the game. Yeah. This is, video games should really, or like adaptions should really watch Gran Turismo for like, this is how you should do it. You know what I mean? Because like how do you turn a video game into a movie?
But they took a real story, right? It was a real person that got from video game into the real world, racing world. So
all that to being said, just it's a great video game movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen one of those. I've never seen one of those before where it's like, oh, this is a perfect movie. Like adaptation.
Yeah.
Okay, two last things. What time are we at?
1 hour 27.
Okay, cool. So I heard this other thing about like Epstein. You know, like Epstein is so basically the thing that I heard was they were like Epstein knew exactly what you wanted and he gave it to you in order to take information from you.
Okay.
I heard that in the podcast, and the first thing I wrote down was Game of Thrones. Do you remember why is Game of Thrones like our lives, bro? Do you remember the brothel owner?
Yeah. Littlefinger.
And he had the power. Who was Littlefinger again?
I think it was.
What did he look like?
No, he owned the brothels. He liked Ned Stark's wife, right?
Yeah. The dude.
I think it's Littlefinger.
Mustache guy.
Yeah.
His name, right? Mustache guy.
Yeah.
So, but remember, he was like he gained information.
Yes.
Through the brothel.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking Epstein 101, bro. Like.
Right.
Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think Game of Thrones is probably. Again, like that's why it was so great. We think it's an olden time thing. It's almost like the sci-fi thing. It's like you're presenting our life, but through a movie or through a show.
Yeah. And
instead of it being futuristic, this is just olden time. Yeah. Because those tactics are still in play today.
Yeah.
If you look at the Epstein thing, that's Littlefinger right there. All right. So final thing. All right, this is a chess thing, and I was just thinking about this. So crazy. Who does everybody want to be in chess? Who do you want to be in chess?
Be in chess.
Like, let's say you're any chess piece. Pick the chess piece.
I don't know. Let's go. Well, I guess everybody wants to be the queen, right? Can go anywhere.
Ooh, dun. Okay, so yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Like, why wouldn't you want to be the queen? So chess is actually a matriarchal game presented as a patriarchal game.
Right.
Rip you, right? If you really think of it, everybody wants to be no, like the bravado
Right.
men.
Right.
They want to be the king,
Yes.
but you said queen because you're thinking how I was thinking. It's like, wait, who has the best moves? Is the queen.
Yeah.
But why does everybody want to be the king? Everyone's like, oh, I just want everything to be done for me. I want to be, the king's the weakest player, right? He's equivalent to a pawn.
Yes.
Like he has no power.
Yeah.
Why? He's just a little above a pawn because he can move angrily, right?
Yeah, he can only move angle.
Forward.
Yeah. Only one step at a time.
He can move one step at a time. So why would you want to be the king? The queen is the most powerful character. And I think that, and I really want to look into this. How old is the game of chess? Because did they know that? Was this created in was a version of chess created? Like obviously chess is more new, but did they steal the idea from an old game? And certain secrets got passed down.
Right.
Because you literally just told us that it's a matriarchal world.
Right.
Like the women hold all the power. The queen is the most powerful character.
And we see it in Dune as well.
The mom?
The mom narrating the story.
Oh, that's true. I love how we're just bringing everything back to Dune.
Even the emperor, even the emperor king had really no power.
Yeah, he didn't have the power. That's true. He was just like old and frail.
Yeah.
He was just conducting things. But it was the Bene Gesserit.
It's his daughter that's really going to be the one to do the next things.
That's true too, yeah. It's so wild that we live in a patriarchal society, which is like not to sound like a freaking bleeding heart liberal or anything, or like EDI king, it's just like, no, just look at it logically. Like literally, we live in a patriarchal society, but women hold the power. No. Women are more powerful. Logically speaking, like they're like, oh, you're just a matriarchal. You just want to be like a,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
No, but I'm just looking at it logically. They give birth. Like they're more nurturing. They're more collectivist. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like men energy is very like, this is mine. I will kill you. I will fight. But even in chess, you see that like women are more powerful than men. It's wild to think about.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Dune, like the Bene Gesserit women are all like pulling the strings.
Yeah,
they're like, there's no random. We plan. It's like, oh, true. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Anything else?
No, it's a great sci-fi movie. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it is a great sci-fi movie. Yeah, I'm planning to get waiting for a moment. Like with my tattoos, I think of them like, like gamer cards.
Yeah.
When you like sign in and then it's like, this person unlocked all these things, and then you can see it on their gamer card. I feel like those are like my tattoos. So I'm glad you said queen, because I was like, oh, I really want to get a chess piece tattoo because it's like chess, not checkers. But I was like, I really like the queen, but I was wondering what you would think. And when you said queen too, I'm like, okay, we're on the same page, bro. The queen is the best character. Yeah. Anyways,
Yes.
Any final thoughts about anything? Anything you want to bring up?
F1 is back. That's what I'm watching.
Oh yeah, you said that to me. Dude, I didn't even know that. I thought they were the same thing. I thought Gran Turismo was F1. Remember, I was like, it was the same. No. Really? Well, wasn't he at the end? He was like in some rocket car.
No, he was doing the 24-hour Le Mans.
That not?
It's not F1. It's not F1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're in this like car world, and I have no idea. I see cars, bro. I don't understand the difference, but okay.
The F1 is very different, and I mean, in the sense that they're all generally on the same tracks, but it's the speed that's very different.
Okay, interesting. Like,
They're going
what's
like 300 kilometers an hour, like super fast around.
isn't that what? Oh, 300 kilometers?
Something like that. Yeah, I can show you.
Miles per hour?
I don't know. It's not miles. It's kilometers, I think.
Oh, okay. Because 300 kilometers is not that fast. In the thing, he was going like 300 mph in his car.
Miles per hour, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'll show you what it is. But it depends on the track, right? I was just guessing 300. But like all the videos I've seen, it's like here's like a normal car running around. Like I went to one of this NASCAR. Like I see how fast that stuff was, but it's nowhere near as fast as F1.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. And this is where Lewis Hamilton is.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Who's the controversial LeBron James character who left his home team?
Well, yeah, anyway, yeah. He's going to be, not yet. That'll be next season. So he's got one more season on Mercedes.
Ooh, that's awkward.
That's why it's like,
you think everyone hates him now?
It's more like I don't think they'll try to reveal too many secrets to him as to what they're working on.
Oh yeah,
because
cool.
Normally these kind of contracts only come out mid-season. They don't come out a season ahead. So that's what was different about it. Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder if it's like the Gran Turismo where they hated him. Remember?
Yeah.
He's like he's not a real racer. He's a sim driver. They're like they all didn't like him.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, it'll be more like Mercedes fans. I probably will if he starts winning for Ferrari.
Oh, true. Yeah. All right, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, let me know how it goes. You're super into that right now. So
no, it's very interesting because the new season started and last year's season. So normally Netflix releases the Drive to Survive. So that talks about the previous season. So it's very interesting because they go into like the business aspect of it, them getting the sponsors. Okay. So and clashes between certain drivers. So it's very Netflix. They film a lot of things and they try to get the story around it, whatever they have filmed.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool.
So it's very
reality TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this goes back to what we were saying about like. Remember, Tara's like the highest form of TV is reality TV because instead of creating the story, you're just documenting a story.
Yeah.
It's like because that's what they're doing, bro. They're literally just filming the F1 stuff and they're creating narratives around it that we can watch now.
Yeah,
because people love reality TV. They don't want the fiction anymore. They're like, show me what's really happening.
But sometimes it's what I heard is like they're not filming all of the drivers at once, right? That's
okay.
They're seeing what's going on and they're filming those things, and then they have to see all the footage. What's the story we can tell?
What can we create from it? Yeah, totally. That's a tough job. That's a tough job.
Yeah. But I felt like this season's Netflix, it was really good because I watched all of last season, so I knew what was going on when I was watching it, but now I can see the behind the scenes of like the politics and all that kind of stuff. Because it's like, what?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, because there was like
remind me of the Kardashians.
Yeah, because it was like there was like an Alpine race car driver in the middle of it. I didn't know, but like in the middle of it, the team principal was fired. So now this Netflix one gave the explanation as to what happened and how he got fired. Like on the day in mid race weekend, he was fired.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. They totally stole that from the Kardashians, bro. Because life will happen. We'll see like a social media post, and then when they drop the season, they'll reference, they'll like show you how that happened, and you're like, oh, that's why that happened. You know, just like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. We're entering into a crazy world of like reality TV because it's like what you post plus what we show you. So it's like we could fill in the context.
Right. Yeah. And like I already know like what's going to be happening in next season's Drive to Survive, because there's already this season like start off with Christian Horner's allegation, the team principal for Red Bull. But then what happened was they did the investigation. He's clear of all the stuff, so he's still team principal and CEO of Red Bull. But then somebody leaked the Google Drives, is what I hear, to certain reporters to show that maybe this is not the right way of doing things, or like maybe he's still guilty of it. So that is so now FIA, which is like the ones that control the racing world, so the regulations and stuff, so they're involved in it right now. So we're back in that story again, so we don't know what's going on. So what Netflix is gonna have a field day with this next season when
Yeah,
this
that's
comes.
cool. Dude, you can't escape the internet, bro. Like the digital world, like when he's like, "Oh, we found a hard drive," it's like, "Oh my god."
Well, we'll see.
It
Yeah,
reminds
yeah,
me of
yeah,
the
yeah,
Diddy.
yeah. Sorry.
You know the Diddy thing that's coming out? The
Oh yeah,
Diddy
yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah,
that's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it reminds me of that, bro. Like you're like, wait, what? Like, and then they resurfaced a video of like Justin Bieber and Diddy that's like going around.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Bieber seems like kind of freaked out,
Right.
and you're like, dude, you can't escape the digital world, bro. Hard drives, people just save everything. You know,
Mm-hmm.
crazy times. Which is kind of weird because we're putting everything online. It's like 200 years, not 200 years, but like let's say something happens, and like let's reference their podcast. You're like, oh my god, no, you know.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it depends. Yeah, what we're not in that world, I would say. As much.
I know, totally. I would never, honestly. You know what is really okay. Last thing. I gotta get ready.
Yeah.
The thing that's really interesting that you hear now and you're seeing, and Vince Staples brought this up, and like with the Diddy thing, I should cut that up actually, of Vince Staples saying this, but everybody thinks that celebrityism is it. If you're on TV, oh, you must be making lots of money. You must be this type of person now. You have all these connections. You have unlimited resources, right? But he's like, no, it's not like that at all. You know, we just present it like this. And I think what we're starting to see now in the limelight is I actually wouldn't want to be famous.
Oh yeah,
Like you know what I mean?
Right.
There's so much scrutiny. There's like no anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's wild to think about that we coveted that for so long, and then now we're seeing like the perils of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, bro, no, it's not good to be famous.
Yeah, I noticed that a long time ago. That's why it's like there's like once you're famous, you're not free anymore.
You're
kind of.
But I still,
you have opportunities and stuff, but it's like that's why people they if they go to another country that nobody knows who they are, they like that. Like they just roam the streets like nobody.
Yeah, totally. It's funny because it's like I like to do the exercises of what famous people do, but I wouldn't want to be famous. So like this podcast and like making those videos, these are just like it's like what Rick Rubin said, like make the art first for yourself. And it's like that's all that if you made the art and you like the art, it's great. You've done your job, you know? But like to think about commercial success is like, I mean, there's like a limit. Like obviously you need to make some money, but like it's to that level of like.
Well, that's why that's why it's both, right? You have to. It's the reason they get paid so much is because of all these things.
Yeah, true. They it's like a hazard pay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, crazy. Okay, our last thing, because this is related. So I watched the Taylor Swift documentary, and she was groomed for this. You know, she's like, oh, the biggest person in the world, make all the money. She was groomed for this as a little kid. Like she believed that she's like, I just want to be the best entertainer in the entire world. So when she got those bad reviews of her album, and then she dropped this crazy album, and then now she got this huge success, it's because she's like, no, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to become famous. But then you see she's so hurt because she's just a kid who's like has this hole that she's trying to fill with fame. But then there's backlashes of fame where like they make fun of her and they like say all these negative things. It's like, but it's psychologically harming for her.
Yes.
Like if you watch her documentary, like not the concert stuff, you actually watch her documentary, it's like she's struggling psychologically. She admits it.
Right.
She went through anorexia because like somebody called her
that,
fat.
and I think even Selena Gomez's documentary was like that too, right?
Oh, I didn't watch that one. Oh,
yeah, like making fun of her weight, these like all these internet comments about these sort of things. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you started off broken. You were like trying to fill the void. She's like, I want to be famous and loved by people. You're like, oh, that's not a healthy way to begin. You know what I mean? Whereas like Rick Rubin, it's just like, just create the art, bro. If nobody likes it, that's cool. You made the art though. You know? Whereas like those artists are like, what will pop because I want to be loved.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, it's like a different zone. That's why I like Kendrick. He's like, he's going to put something authentic. And it's like, he doesn't really care about the commercial, although he's super commercially successful, but it's just like, but it comes from a pure place.
Yeah.
Not like trying to be the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and with that, till next week. Yeah, let's end there because I gotta get ready for this,
Yeah. Okay.
this
All right.
appointment.
All right.
Till next week, take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.